episode 3727, Love More Than You Complain.
Moms, it's time to rediscover, rejuvenate, and renew who you are in mind, body, and spirit. Welcome to Create Your Now, Your Best Selfie, the show to help you do just that. Here's your host, certified life coach, personal trainer, and nutritionist, Christiane Wargo.
Happy day. I hope your week has gone very, very well. It is Friday, so let's raise the roof. It's Confessions of an Upset Mama, and you know what? We've got a big one to talk about. Love more than you complain. For those of you who are brand new to Create Your Now, welcome to this incredible family. I'm so delighted of your presence. If you already even had the opportunity, you want to head on over to createyournow.com, where you can learn more and to sign up for the Kisses newsletter. The Keep It Simple strategy, everyday solutions to live, love, and impact. Well, this episode is brought to you by AIM, Inspiring Connection and Community. Well, can I just tell you that I love meeting new people, I love connecting, and I love meeting old friends and mentors. And I got time to spend with a good mentor of mine that deals a lot with social media. She's kind of known as a queen of Facebook. Shout out to Mari. I'm so glad I got to just kind of hang with you and learn from you. And then a new friend, Carrie. Hey, great to have you on board. You know, we take life for granted a lot of times. And when we do this, we're just putting ourselves up against a brick wall, literally and figuratively. We want everything our way, but we don't take time to see it the other person's way. And then that brings me to parenting. Oh yeah, raising kids is a party every day. You can do everything right, only to get most of it wrong. Yes, it's that unfair. But what is really unfair is when parents seem to fuss nonstop about anything and everything. Even with the little less exaggeration, love more than you complain. I think about how, we want what's best for our kids, and we really do. I get it, but it can't come at the expense of their self-esteem and confidence. And this has been on my mind a lot lately, probably because my kids, our youngest, just celebrated a big, huge birthday. He's officially able to do anything and everything, including drink. So you know his age. Shout out to my G-man. He celebrated his birthday this week, and so we don't have any babies anymore, except for our grandbabies, and we have two. Let's see, 19 months now and 4 years old. And so we're very, very blessed. But I think about all the children that I have been in contact with from growing up in my own childhood to becoming old enough to babysit, to becoming old enough to be that Sunday school teacher or that children's church, minister, or that children's church creator, or honestly, I was a Praise Kids director, and I started these crazy things called mini Broadway musicals, and we did 3 of them a year from ages 3 up to 12th grade. Yeah, call me crazy. I was crazy. But it was something I would never change too. And I think we look at our lives going, you know what? If we could just make everything the way we want it, because we see things before they do, right? We as the parent, right? We have more experience. We're expected to understand more, but sometimes we don't always got it right. Sometimes we got it all wrong. And it comes at the cost of our children. And so as my children are aging out of the house, so to speak, and yes, still some of them live at home, and I'm very blessed to have that happening. They are getting their life together. So when they leave the nest, they're gone. They only come back to visit. We don't want them to revisit, and say, oh, can I do this for like another year or two? No. Let's get it done and out of the way. And then you go, and then we get to do our life. That's kind of how we wanted them to do it. Plus, in all honesty, it's hard to go back to school. It's hard to get that. If you just do it all up front, especially if you know what you're doing, hey, go after it. But our children have chose that road. We've encouraged them, but it's been their decision. And I think that's one thing we need to understand as parents is that our children, as they grow through their stages of life, they need to kind of start figuring things out for themselves, right? And it starts at the very beginning, even at conception. The little baby, it's like, okay, I'm hungry now. Well, obviously we're not feeding them directly, but indirectly we are. Right? We all of a sudden get this like, oh, and then as they grow in the womb, they're kicking more like, hello, what you ate gave me a little bit of a little kick-a-roozer here. And so I'm a little bit hyperactive. Or all of a sudden you ate something and it's very, very still. And you're like, oh, what happened? A sugar crash? You have no idea, right? I mean, depending upon what you ate. And then you have them out of the utero, right? And you're holding them and you get to just love on them. And they are just absolutely so precious. And then they hit all the different stages and you're like, oh, there's no way I'm going to make it through this. There's just no way. And they go 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, all the way up to, who knows, 30 and more. And so our children need to know that their accomplishments and achievements don't outweigh their presence. Can I say that again? Our children need to know that their accomplishments and achievements don't outweigh their presence. Who they are matters, not necessarily what they do. Right? We want them to go out and impact the world that they touch, but not at a cost that is more for us than them. Think about it this way. If you were told that your child would be the president of the United States, I know, kind of far-fetched here, but just go with me on this one because I wanted to make it really big and, dramatic here. But they ended up being an electrician. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. We need electricians in the world. In fact, I've used one recently, so thank you. Hats off to my electrician. Would you treat them differently since they didn't get what was theirs to have? I mean, seriously, give some thought to that. Maybe your child said, oh, I want to be a doctor when I grow up. And then all of a sudden they're like, no, I want to be a teacher. Now I say that because we have both teachers and doctors in our family. So I'm saying that with much love on all sides. I'm not picking a side. That's why I picked those in particular. The problem is we as parents say, oh, but it's probably going to be a lot better if you're a doctor. But then on the other side, it's like, but it could be a lot better if you were a teacher. What about what they want? What are their dreams? Disappointments from our children come in many shapes and sizes, from their reckless decisions to not winning their games and everything in between. But why do we get caught up in that? Why do we feel like when they say no to something, when they fail, when they don't get what we think they should be getting, all of a sudden it's like, oh no. Your child should not get everything that they want. I know, newsflash, breaking news. Children should not get everything they want. Go tell that to a friend. They might slam the door in your face. But it's confession time. And I think we need to rise up as parents and understand that we have an extraordinary opportunity to raise up kids, to train them up, to be productive adults, compassionate individuals that can go and impact the world that they touch, where they make a difference, not where they just make noise. Think about that. Have you turned on the news lately? Things are happening. Where's your child? What are they doing? Where are they going? Who are they hanging out with? Have you ever thought about what your child wants? Where they want to go? Their dreams, their aspirations? Now, yes, age and stage matter. A 2-year-old will not know what they like or need like a 14-year-old would, right? We just know this automatically. However, it's not our job to force or strongly encourage them to do one thing over the next. You can introduce things, but as they get older, they get to choose. For example, when our kids were growing up, I wanted them to have a taste of everything. So we had them in sports and fine arts. And it was just everything. Gymnastics, you name it, they were in it. But then as they got older, they had to choose. And because they had so many siblings, yes, we have 5, because they had so many siblings, it was highly, highly encouraged to do 2 outside of school. Now, if they could maintain it in school and they could do it kind of within those parameters, that's great. But when you have each child doing 2 things, you got 10 activities minimum a week. When you add on practices, you're looking at 20. You're like, do you ever sleep? No, not really. I'm still not sleeping to this day. That's why I'm here every day for you on the podcast. Confession day. But think about it. Don't you want what your child wants for them? And if that's you, which I believe it really is, then you got to love more than you complain. That is your Kiss to Keep It Simple strategy. Love more than you complain. And that complaining sounds very different to us than it does to our children. When we think of complaining, it's like, oh man, I wish I could do this better. Or I wish I had this. Or can I go and buy this? What about this? No, but our kids here, you're not worthy. You didn't do it well enough. Should have practiced more. You should have hung out with the other kid and not that one you have been hanging with. We might think we are encouraging and cheering them on to the next thing, but sometimes all they hear is, you got to go get this. You just got to go get this. My friend, pleasing parents comes at a cost too. And it's not usually to the parents. It costs the children. The children take it personally and then hide it in their hearts, which either helps them or significantly weighs them down. We're adding stress to them and we didn't even know it. And we're trying to take it away. I know, been there, done that. There are times I'm thinking, oh, okay, I'm going to cheer them on. You got this and you're the best. And sometimes it's like, Christiane, come on, a little bit more low key. You don't have to be out there. So I go and yell at a TV screen. Have you watched the Stanley Cup? Did you watch the overtime in the fourth game? Yeah. 4-4 tied in overtime. Crazy. Edmonton, congratulations. You won the fourth game. Oh, let's go. We're tied 2-2. But we're not cheering on our kids like we're cheering on a hockey team, whether it's the Florida Panthers or the Edmonton Oilers. We need to be cheering on their hearts, their dreams. We need to see what they want in their life. Because God created them on purpose for a purpose, just as He did you. And that doesn't mean that your children will have the same dreams and aspirations that you have. And quite frankly, I really hope they don't. Because let me tell you, me being a mom of 5 and now a grandma of 2, I got 7 blessings. Oh my goodness. It is so neat to see each of them in their own element, rising to the top. I love that. And if they were doing everything I was doing, oh dear. Some of them, just not a good idea. It'd be interesting. We might have a few beeps happening sometimes in the podcast, but seriously, right? We want our children to succeed in their fashion, not in ours. So we've got to be mindful of how our children respond to our communication. Are we setting them off in a positive manner? Are we giving them what they need, or are we just doing it because it's what we need? Great questions. So I want you to think about that. So if you're one who's thinking, yes, I want to love more than I complain, this is what it looks like in real life. Number 1, practice gratitude. And gratitude is a big thing. I say it a lot. But you see what gratitude does? And it just like literally wipes the slate clean. It allows us to see that, you know what? I'm really grateful for where I am right now. And instead of focusing on what your child is not doing or not achieving, take time each day to express gratitude for who they are and the unique qualities they possess. Celebrate their individuality and strengths. Tell them, you know what? I am thankful for you. I love you for who you are. You are grateful that you get to be their mom or dad. I don't think we tell our kids that they're pretty awesome a lot of times. We wait and we attach it to a result or an outcome. Yes, that's good. But what's better is telling them that you love them when no results exist. Maybe even when they've lost. When they're just sitting at the dinner table finishing up. Or they've shared something that's happened at school. Or you experience something from afar and you watch them, how they served with kindness. That's when it's nice to recognize your kiddos and say, you know what? I'm so glad I get to be your mom. I know sometimes it's not really fun because, you are a kid and you're growing up. And the boundaries, they're there for your safety. I always tell my kiddos, safety first. We can have a lot of fun, but you have to play within mama's boundaries. And as a grandma, I say the same thing. We can have a lot of fun, but you have to stay and play within grandma's boundaries. But one thing that trumps all of that is gratitude. I want them to know that they are loved unconditionally, that I am thankful for them, that their results do not at all define how much I love them. And in all honesty, I think if you were to ask my kiddos directly, and even my grandbabies, they would say, no, we know mom and grandma loves us. We do know. And we know it's not about the results. Where are you in that? I mean, I don't get it right all the time. I do fail, but I learn from that. And I try to learn quickly. And I get up and dust myself off. I'm like, got foot in the mouth, pull it out, go do laundry or whatever. Especially if it was, a sock in the mouth, You know what I'm saying, right? TMI. Anyway, but it's important for us to have that, to understand where we're going. So you got to practice that gratitude. Number 2, you've got to have effective communication. How are you communicating with your kids, or are you? Instead of resorting to constant complaints or criticisms, and it's easy to do. Why didn't you do this? Why haven't you cleaned up your room? Isn't your homework done already? Didn't you go help grandma when I asked her? Why didn't you make your bed this morning? You need to empty the dishwasher. Did you take the trash out? I mean, those are just a handful of things, and I didn't cover half of the life. Ask more questions rather than forcing your ideas down their throats. Listen to their thoughts and feelings without judgment. Pay attention to their body language. If you know they had a hard test, pay attention to what's going on.